Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at Super7's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ultimate's Metalhead figure. Oh, wrong Metalhead. Alright, some quick facts about Metalhead. Metalhead has had many iterations throughout the TMNT's history. This one in particular is based on the original party robot that was released by Playmates as part of their basic assortment of TMNT figures in 1989. Birthplace is Krang's Technodrome, and their favorite food is computer chip cookies. So Super7's box art is really cool. It's got the slip cover with the little logo, the little icon on the front, which is really neat. So you remove that to reveal the figure in their plastic prison, and they look excellent in there. On the back, you actually get the blurb that was written on the Playmates back of their card, which is awesome. And if you've listened to my podcast Turtle Soup, you'll have heard me and my co-host Ryan lose our minds laughing at the glorious, just absolutely wonderful flavor text they have on the back of these boxes. And so yeah, let's get this figure free from its plastic prison and see what we think about Metalhead. So fresh out the box, this figure looks fantastic. The amount of detail that's here is just delightful. There's just so much stuff to look at. All the bolts, parts and pieces and electronic things that are just going on here is just great. And you could just keep looking and keep finding more and more things to just be like, oh, I didn't see that the last time I looked at him. And so that's really awesome. And I got to be honest, I loved Metalhead as a kid. Sucker for vac metal, just shiny metal on toys. Huge fan of that. Translucent pieces, plastic, big fan of that as well. And Metalhead had both of those things. And this figure feels like how I remember the original one feeling. Now, I know that it's obviously different and bigger and more detailed and all that, but still, in my recollection, like my memories of playing with that figure, this is what I was playing with, even though, you know, I hope that's coming off the right way. Basically what I'm trying to say is that Super7 did a fantastic job replicating the same things that the Playmates figure brought to life. However, they've brought all of that back to life and added more to it and just made it bigger and better. And that's really rad. He's got some heft to him, and he just looks so cool. I'm just a huge fan of this character, but also this take on the figure. He just looks so good, and I just keep seeing more and more things that I missed the last time I looked at him. This Metalhead comes with 6 interchangeable hands, an additional hand with a finger tentacle. Ooh. 2 interchangeable heads, one with the translucent brain eyes gimmick that the original Playmates figure had, which was awesome. A backpack computer thing, a tiny radar dish adapter for the backpack, a Robo Chuck adapter for the backpack that could be like a tiny little helicopter thing, I guess. Additionally, that Robo Chuck thing has a slightly different plug that can be used to replace one of Metalhead's hands. They also come with 2 grenades, and additionally, they come with most of all of that in a different color on a weapons rack kind of thing that is an homage to the original Playmates figures that used to come with them, and it's all molded in the same plastic like they were back in the day. All right, so let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of this Metalhead figure. So let's start with the backpack. So if you have the backpack on, it does have some swivel at the radar because you just plug that in. And so that just gives you that option. Then his head is also interchangeable. So that means that usually it's able to do 360, which this one is. And he can, you know, turn his head left and right, kind of just and cock it to the side and whatnot. He can look up a little bit, down a little bit, but it's not much, but you know, it's something. The shoulders get 360 at the shoulder joint, as well as, you know, up and down and all that fun stuff that shoulders normally do. You get 360 at the bicep swivel, and you also have a swivel at the elbow, as well as a joint that is there to allow the elbow to bend. However, I am not a fan of the soft plastic that is used for his elbow pad being tucked in there. That seems problematic, but what do I know? I don't make action figures. I just buy them and play with them. So moving on to the wrist, you get 360 at the wrist and a little bit of back and forth, but the joint does, or the the wrist will come out because the joints aren't that great to at staying in, but nevertheless, that option is available to you. He doesn't have any torso area kind of articulation because this seems like a literal like shell that goes around him. So the actual buck might have that, but you don't have it available in this present form of Metalhead. But you can access a little bit of the back and forth at the waist, and so if you need that, there's that. He's got full range at the legs, which that's just nuts. Pardon the pun. And then, you get a little bit of thigh swivel back and forth right there at the thigh joint. And then you also get a swivel at the knee, which is cool, and a joint at the knee to bend it. However, he does have some pipes that are or cords, whatever you want to call them, that are attached to the from the thigh, the back of the thigh to the back of the calf. So that's going to hinder some of your articulation, but still you can get a little bit out of that. And then he's got an ankle rocker, so back and forth, front, and then a joint. So, front to back, all that fun stuff. And there you go. That is the articulation that you're going to get out of this Metalhead figure. So according to the back of the Playmates card, Metalhead is 6 foot tall and weighs a quarter ton. This figure from Super7 stands a little over 5.5 inches tall and weighs about 8 ounces. Now let's see how he measures up next to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here they are with Super7's Donatello and Super7 Slash figures. Here they are with NECA's April O'Neil 2.0 and NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1987 animated series Raphael. Here they are with NECA's Mirage Comics Shredder figure and NECA's Return to New York 4-pack Leonardo. Here they are with Hasbro's Blue Centurion and NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Archie Adventures Comics Jaguar. Here they are with SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Geats and the NECA knockoff comic Raphael. Here they are with Storm Collectibles Baraka and McFarlane's Shao Kahn. Here they are with Marvel Legends Ultron and Jazzwares Peely. Here they are with NECA's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1987 animated series Metalhead figure. Here they are with Figma's Zelda and Masters of the Universe Classics Merman. So Metalhead's always been one of my favorite characters in every iteration of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's just something about like a robot turtle that just does it for me. And well, now that I say it out loud, I think most robots just do it for me, but that's a discussion for a different day. So anyway, Metalhead, back in the 80s, Playmates put this figure out, and he was awesome. As, per the aforementioned robot and Ninja Turtle. And adding to that, just when you couldn't get any cooler, they're like, well, let's give him translucent brain and eyes so that they shine. And I'm like, oh, cool, I'm there. And then on top of that, we're going to add a vac metal shell. And then I was just elated because those are 2 triggers of mine right there. Actually, 3, the robot, the translucent eyes, and the vac metal shell. And so that was so cool. And then once you're there looking at those things, then you see that Playmates put all this other detail into the figure, and it's just really awesome and one of the best in the line. And Super7 have now harnessed all that coolness and made it bigger and better and brought it to the modern era standards of action figures to now grace our shelves with just such awesome coolness, and it literally shines on our shelves because of the shell, which that sounds like a tongue twister. Shines on our shelves because of the shell. I think I did it okay. I think I did it all right. Anyway, let's look at the pictures. This figure is a ton of fun to mess around with and just look at. Like, I holding him in my hand, it brings back just a lot of joy and fond memories of playing with him as a kid, and it's really neat. And just having him on the shelf does the same thing, and I really am happy with this figure. The level of detail here is just excellent, and this figure works well with the Super7 line of turtles that they have, but it also works really well with a lot of the NECA TMNT offerings, and he's got this generic enough look to where he can go with other lines that you might have, like, you know, in your collection, and he can still, you know, function and work in different, you know, scenarios, if you will. I don't know what us adults call playing with our toys anymore, but there you go. What I'm saying is that he has this look that he can go with Marvel Legends. He can go with some other action figure lines, like, you know, well, I don't know so much. Well, he might be able to go with Mortal Kombat. You never know. But Masters of the Universe Classics, he can go with some of that. You know, things like that. You can make it work. It's just not inherently just like totally Ninja Turtles, like just one line. And that's really cool, and a hallmark of a good robot action figure, in my opinion. However, the biggest downfall that this figure has by far are its legs. And I think from what I've read online and heard, and in my own experience with the few Super 7 figures that I have, their legs just don't seem to like hold up very well. Like, they can stand and you can get them to hold poses and whatnot, but they are a little loose, especially at that, like, where at the hips where it joins at the crotch. That's a little wobbly on almost all of them, and it kind of sucks because they do such a good job on everything else, and it's the one thing that the figure literally balances on, and it gives you some grief when you're trying to pose it and get it to stand, and it kind of slouches and slumps over and whatnot. But you can make it work, but it takes some effort, and even then you're a little hesitant to just leave it there because you're afraid, you know, that it might collapse. I've also had trouble with my hands popping out. It's not that big of an issue, but it was something that I found that they pop out very easily, oddly enough, which, you know, could be good and could be bad. But in my experience with posing this figure and trying to take photos and whatnot, it was kind of just a little bit of an annoyance just having to put the hands back in because they popped out. And so it's a minor thing, but it definitely came up quite a bit. However, saying all that, Super 7 did a fantastic job bringing this figure back to life for me, more life, if you will, and just making it so cool and just so detailed and fantastic. And everything I remembered Metalhead being, except that the Metalhead I had, his legs, you know, they weren't so wobbly. But other than that, fantastic job. And I'm super happy to have it in my collection. And it brings me a lot of joy just being here on my shelf in my office. And I really appreciate that. So if you love shiny metal robot action figures, then this will scratch the itch for you. If you love metal turtle robot action figures, then you're definitely going to love Metalhead. Or if you just love action figures that have shiny metal parts and translucent parts together, then yeah, Metalhead, got it right here for you. And if you're just looking for an amazing recreation update to one of the best toys from the 80s, then Super 7's Metalhead is your turtle. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe as well. And if you want to hear me talk more about Metalhead and other things Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles related, then make sure to head on over to Turtle Soup Podcast here on YouTube, where my friend Ryan and I talk about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles a lot. And we've been doing it for a while. So chances are we've talked about something you want us to talk about. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then do us a favor, check us out, and yeah, let us know what you think about Metalhead in the comments. And until then, Elsetime.